Welcome back to the Stephen Knight Show. Our next guest is a global educator, best-selling author, and youth advocate. He'll be appearing on Iyanla Vanzant's series finale of her show, Fix My Life, on May 15th. Please help me welcome back to the show, Dr. Steve Perry. Welcome back.
Glad to be here, brother. Thanks for having me.
Oh, definitely. Now, you were on here maybe about a year ago, and things were a lot different. We were all staying inside, trying to social distance. But now we've opened up more. There are vaccinations out there. How has your life changed since the last time I talked to you?
Well, I think that the earth needed a break from humans.
Yeah.
And I got the opportunity to spend time with my family that I would not have gotten to spend had the earth not been on timeout.
Mm-hmm.
My oldest son, was going off to school, so I got to spend his last year of high school spending time with him, whereas in years past I'd be on the road 100 days a year.
Yeah.
So I got to slow down for a minute. But now, for a while, our schools have been back on some level or another. So we've been pretty much in the groove. We're not nearly at capacity, but we're more than just chilling at the crib.
Yeah. Now, I know they said that some schools and universities are requiring students and faculty to get the vaccine to return. Have any of your schools been impacted by that? And what do you think about that measure?
I'm of two mindsets. I get that people want personal freedoms. Mm-hmm. I really do understand that. And I support it on so many levels.
Right.
I also understand that this sucks. Yeah. This ain't it.
Yeah.
This is not what's happening. This is not what's hot.
Mm-mm.
And you have to get a vaccination to go to school anyway.
Right.
And this is just another vaccination from another disease.
Yeah.
Get over yourself, for real.
I agree. I'm double vaccinated, and I'm glad to be done with it.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
So let's talk about Fix My Life. So what can you tell us about the family? And they can't tell us a lot because they want us to watch it, of course. But what can you tell us about the family and how you play a role in that final episode?
I want to start by thanking Iyanla.
Yeah.
This is the final episode of the series. This is the season finale and the series finale. She could have chosen from tens of thousands of people who do what we do anywhere on earth, speaking any language.
Right.
She chose me. So I want to begin by thanking her. Yeah. And then she brings me in for a man's perspective.
Right.
And this is a family led by a widower whose two sons have lost their minds. Mm. And some of it's age-based. A lot of it's on some other mess. They're middle class. He's a teacher.
Okay.
He's a teacher and pastor.
Mm.
So like so many people would look and say, oh, he must know how to take care of this. And maybe professionally he does, but we all need help.
Yeah.
And so the family is in crisis. And Iyanla brings me in to see what I can do to avert what is impending doom.
I know a lot of times, because I watch the show, they do the updates at the end. They have like the written update. And sometimes, they go on to continued services. And then sometimes it's the family, people still struggle with the same issues they left, which obviously you're not going to be healed completely in 2 days or 3 days. Do you think based on your interaction with this family, they have a chance of really honing it in and getting it together?
This was a tough one, brother. And that's not a pitch to watch, but you got to watch, because someone asked me, one of my parents at one of our schools asked, is it real? I said, oh yeah, it's real. I mean, I arrived there and I am immersed in this family. And I hesitate to say they're dysfunction because everybody's going through something.
Yeah. Especially.
I mean, sadly, we've been led astray, that we've been led to believe that there are families who got it right. Mm-hmm. And even in those families that have it right, who do you think are these kids who hopped up on Oxy? I mean, you know, even in those families that you think that it got it right, how many prep schools have you heard about really gnarly things happening on those campuses? Everybody is going through something. So I don't want to call it dysfunction, but I do want to call it humanity. And sadly, too many of us know what advice we should take, but know that we're not going to take it. Right. And so the challenge is to convince this family that they both know and should take the advice. The other part is people ain't always honest.
Right.
So you're going to find, this one's a doozy, brother. You're going to the end, to the bitter end, like to the last commercial.
Yeah.
I haven't seen the final cut. I haven't seen any cuts, actually. I don't even know what's on the show. I know what I did.
There, yeah.
But I don't know how it ended.
Right. Wow.
Because I had to leave.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, obviously, I know you're a child advocate, youth advocate, and you do work, obviously, with adults as well. Do you find in situations, this is a pastor and a teacher, are these people vulnerable to you, or are they kind of standoffish?
Absolutely. I think that's why Iyanla brings me in.
Right.
Look, I'm me. I'm not judging anybody. Because just as quickly as I could be on this side of the desk, I could be on that side of the desk.
Right.
And so I'm not trying to play myself and present myself as holier than thou. There's an authenticity to me that the guests get that's, I mean, it's real. They know what the deal is. I'm not trying to be young because I'm not. I'm not trying to be old because I'm not. I'm not trying to be them because I'm not. I'm just me as me. And that creates the kind of conversation, the foundation for the kind of conversation that we end up having. People, especially men don't want to be vulnerable to anybody.
Right. Yeah.
And the last thing any dude wants is somebody to say, "Oh my God, come here. Oh, you poor thing." No dude wants that. It's the last thing he wants.
Yeah.
So, but they also want someone who's authentically empathetic towards them.
Right.
And the challenge that I have is, bro, we're both here. So we could do this or not. It's going to be on you. I'm going to do what I'm here to do.
Right.
You got to do what you're here to do. And we're going to get out of this what we put into it. So you make that decision. And typically that puts people at ease. When they know I'm not coming for them. And they know I'm going to protect them. I'm not here to make them look like circus clowns.
Right.
Because they're real human beings. You know, in part of the episode, things went left, like for real left. And so I was back at the hotel and I got a call and they said, you know, person wants to talk to you. There's no cameras there. It's not me like, hold on, let me get my iPad.
Yeah.
That's just a real conversation that got really real. Do I think they opened up as much as one can?
Yeah. Yeah. I can only imagine too, being a pastor, you know, typically you're the person that people go to for the counsel and then you're having to seek your own out. But I think
a youth pastor too.
A youth pastor. Yeah. Oh, with two children.
And teacher and mentor.
Wow. I can't wait to see how this turns out. I mean, it's been really good. You know, I was thinking about last week's episode on the show and that family, you know, the parents, I know you weren't involved in that show, but the parents had a disconnect where the wife felt like they were just roommates, and the dad felt like, a 4 out of 5, she's a 4, but you could tell it was a breakdown in the family. And I think in a lot of cases, a lot of families have been stuck in a bubble, during the pandemic all of last year. And, we've seen a lot of divorces go up. We've seen alcoholism go up and drug use and mental health issues, everything. Obviously, you give advice differently from the parents you would give the children. What advice would you give parents, and what advice would you give the children on how to cope for those families that are sticking it out and staying together to get past what we've just been through?
So I'll tell you what I said to one of my sons. The most important relationship that you can have, the one that's got to be rock solid, the one you have with yourself.
Mm-hmm.
The person who you have to feel most comfortable being around is yourself.
Yeah.
I don't know that I would give advice to tell people to stay together, because not everybody should be together.
Right. It's true.
They have reached, as Boys to Men referred to, at the end of the road.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's like that final slurp. It really doesn't taste like anything. It just makes more noise than anything.
Yeah.
However, I believe that either you're fighting to stay together or you're fighting to be apart. If you're fighting to stay together, then it really is a decision that everyone makes. Meaning that married couples are not devoid of the issues that divorced couples have.
Mm-hmm.
So married couples deal with infidelity, they deal with money issues, they deal with sex issues, they deal with different parenting issues, they deal with people's jacked up personalities, they deal with the people's parents and outside forces and work and interests and breakdowns. All the buckets of issues are the same.
Right.
The difference between a married couple and a divorced couple is the married couple said, we're going to try and figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only difference. And so there's a danger that we have, that we invite too many people into the conversation that's our relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And in so doing, we get too many perspectives. And as they say, too many cooks. Well, too many counselors will spoil a marriage. Too many people with too many opinions will spoil a family. And most people who say what they would do wouldn't do what they said they would do.
Yeah. Yeah.
In fact, if you check with what they've actually done, they didn't do it.
Yeah.
So I say, stay as long as there's enough room in the relationship for you to grow.
Mm-hmm.
I asked someone who's contemplating leaving, are you at your best self when you're with your partner? She said, I am not.
Yeah. She answered her own question earlier, I guess, huh?
So she can do what she wants with that. She can accept that as a statement of fact and as an end.
Right.
Or she could say, I want to be at my best when I'm with you. What can we do to make this happen?
Yeah.
We have a son, we have a daughter. What can we do? And if he says pound sand, then it is a statement of fact, and it's not changing. Yeah. Similarly, I offered to a couple. One of my favorite songs from when I was growing up is "If You Like Pina Coladas." I don't know if that's the real name of the song, but that's just the riff. But the song is about two people who are falling apart, and they both answer what we wouldn't do now, but an ad in the paper for someone. And what they find, they run down the list of the things that they like, and then they meet up. And when they meet up, they see that they're each other, and what they listed was the same. Mm-hmm. And something as simple as listing what is important to you in a relationship, devoid of the other person's perspective, just what's important to you. And then looking at each other's list, mm-hmm. and saying, can you do this? Can you do this? the truth is, there are no new problems in a relationship. You either decide that you can deal with this person and what problems they have, or you cannot.
Exactly.
Now, for a while, you can decide that you can, and then you can decide that you can't. Bill and Melinda Gates have been married for 27 years.
I'll ask you about that. Yeah, I'll ask you about that.
I think it's, my heart breaks anytime somebody gets a divorce.
Yeah.
I'm married, man. Mm-hmm. You think I want to, it's like anything.
Right.
When I see a brother die who's around my age, I start thinking, damn, what does that mean for me?
Yeah. Yeah.
Anytime I see things go wrong for somebody who is in a situation similar to me, my mortality is very real. And I know that marriage is a daily decision. You don't decide to take this woman to be a lawfully wedded wife.
Right.
And then stop deciding. You got to decide the next morning to do it again.
Mm-hmm.
And that night to do it. And then next morning. And then throughout the day. It is a constant decision. You can undecide at any point.
Yeah. Yeah. I heard a story where it was this married couple, they're empty nesters, and the husband was a high-powered judge, and turned out that he started messing around with this woman that was on some of the boards he was on, and it completely caught his wife off guard, and and so she confronted him, and he said, yeah, it's true, and I want a divorce. And so I can only imagine after being with somebody so long, raised up a family, and then that hits them. You know what I mean? He decided he didn't want that anymore, I guess, obviously.
Well, and so, first of all, most people who are going to cheat with somebody they know.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's likely somebody that both of y'all know.
Mm-hmm.
The second part is we never hear the whole story when we hear this story.
It's true.
What we hear is that he cheated.
Right.
We don't hear what she did or doesn't do.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We don't know.
Yeah.
We always paint the person who was cheated on as if they are without fault.
The victim.
Not recognizing that there are other things that one can do to make a relationship unfun.
Mm-hmm.
And it not be cheating. That may not be their thing.
Yeah.
But I also offer up that if that couple decides that they want to work it out, they can work it out.
Mm-hmm.
If they want to. If they don't want to, you could have two people who never cheat on each other in their lives. Usually, I know of a couple who got divorced and continued to live together for a year.
Yeah, I've heard of that. Mm-hmm.
They are as cool as they were when they were married.
Right.
I don't know why they got divorced, but they do.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the way it should be. They know. They know. Yeah. Let's talk about your podcast. No Dumb Question Podcast. It's a series. And it really is a safe place for people to come to and ask questions about the kids, families, and everything they need to work through together. Tell us why this was an important, for obvious reasons, podcast to start, and tell us more about it.
People often ask me questions and they say, look, I know this is a dumb question.
Mm-hmm.
And we say that there are no dumb questions, but what this is K-N-O-W questions. And what I want people to do is that they know that you can ask questions because none of them are dumb.
Yeah.
And every one of us is trying to figure something out. I never want to present myself as some sort of messianic force.
Mm-hmm.
I have access to information because of the work that I do.
Right. Yeah.
And I have a certain skill set because of the way I was raised. And the intersection of those two things give me the opportunity to create conversations with people that can help them gain insight.
Mm-hmm.
When I hear people call themselves parenting experts, I think, really? You think you want to put that out there? Because I don't.
Right. Yeah.
This thing could go left at any time.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody's child, because everybody who you see who's going through something is somebody's child.
Right. Right.
And I see these people who are marriage experts. You really want to put that out there like that? Because everybody who got a divorce thought that they weren't going to get a divorce before they got a divorce.
Which is like that person on social media who's a marriage expert, and he had to come out and admit that he had been having an affair on his wife.
I think he had more than one, but who's counting? And I'm not judging him for that.
Right.
I want to make it clear.
But it goes when you say about calling yourself an expert.
I think it is a dangerous proposition. Yeah. It is a dangerous proposition. What I can offer up with no dumb questions is that my insights are well earned. Mm-hmm. So most of what I'm talking about, I have seen with mine or borrowed eyes.
Right. Yeah.
So if I'm talking about how to deal with a child who's making bad decisions, because I have kids. Mm-hmm. If I'm talking about the challenges of parenting with my wife or with a wife, then it's because I've had similar challenges in my own home and/or watch parents come in where the father wants to get in his boy's chest and the mother's like, no, don't do it. And then he doesn't do it. And then the child acts stupid. And she's like, why don't you do something about it? And he's like, are you serious right now?
Right. Yeah. Yep.
So no dumb questions is an opportunity for people to safely ask questions. I remember a couple of years back when we had the show Save My Son, mm-hmm. After this event, one of the executives, a Black woman, smartly dressed, really attractive, smart Black woman, came over to me and she said, can I talk to you for a second? Of course, thinking, you're the boss, so you can talk to me for more than a second.
Yeah.
And I thought she was going to ask me a question about the show or something related to it. And she said, I have a 14-year-old. Can I talk to you about it? And I thought, oh, wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
I wasn't expecting that, but sure, you absolutely can. Mm-hmm. And, her questions were as pedestrian as the poorest women that I work with. Her questions were as complicated as the poorest women I work with. Mm-hmm. Her age or education or position didn't mean anything.
Right. Yep.
She's just a mother who's got a 14-year-old son who she doesn't know whether to love or lump up.
Right. Exactly. And so this airs on the weekly, Facebook and Instagram. What days?
On Thursdays.
Thursdays at what time?
It's at 6 p.m. East.
Okay, great. Well, what else do you want us to know in closing as we start to venture back out and try to start our lives, restart our lives and figure things out coming out of a pandemic? What advice would you give?
Only day that was promised was yesterday.
Yep.
So make the most out of every single minute.
Well said. Listen, Dr. Steve Perry, thank you so much. Iyanla Fix My Life. He'll be on there May 15th. So set your DVRs or watch it live. And for more information on Dr. Perry, go to our website, thestephennightshow.com, and we will be right back after this.